Here we have the next round of the YouTuber 2022 PvP Championship. My opponent here is DanielZnyiri, also known as Shadow Z or Purified Z. In this particular battle, though, I hear he's pushing it to the next level, and he has unlocked a new form, the Apex Shadow Z. If you're not too familiar with this tournament format, it's a draft tournament. Bring 8, pick 3. Best of 5 rounds, but we play all 5 rounds for like scoring purposes for the semifinals and finals. So yeah, that's why our Pokemon are like, 8 unique Pokemon, and it's kind of goofy, right? Like, oh man, is that a Grand Bowl? I guess like a lot of these picks seem pretty standard. At any rate, these are our battles. Let's get into it. So starting out in round 1, I'm going with Talonflame, Greedent, and Serperior. He's got Lantern on his team. And Lantern is probably one of the biggest threats to my Talonflame, so basically Talonflame, 2 Lantern counters. He's countering my lead here with a Golbat, and this is kind of good for me because both of the Pokemon in the back are kind of weak to Golbat. So if I can get Golbat out of the way early on, then that's pretty good because then these Pokemon in the back don't have a lot to worry about. I let the first Poison Fang through because, it's going to be the lower damaging Poison Fang. He shields my Flame Charge. Here, I'm thinking about maintaining that shield advantage, right? So I'm going to shield that up, try to deal more damage to the Golbat. In my mind, I thought that I'd be able to deal enough damage to the Golbat to the point where like Greedent or something could easily farm it when they come in after I get KO'd. But that chunk of red HP is too chunky. It's too much. So I realized I kind of made a mistake. And if I really wanted to have an advantage at this point in the battle, I probably should have double shielded my Talonflame. That probably would have gone a little bit better because now my poor little Greedent here is going to take way more damage than I would have liked it to. Good news is, though, is that I will get, Golbat out of the way for Serperior, and I will have shield advantage for the end game. And, Greedent is pretty spammy, so I think that the ball's not completely out of my court here. So we have the Sirfetch'd. It farms up a little bit and swaps out, so I'm a little bit spooked. Is there a big Brave Bird in my future? I don't know, because I'm up against this thing here too, the Berserker, and I know one close combat from Berserker is gonna cause me a lot of problems too. So it's a pretty tight situation. I farm up a little bit extra to hopefully get to the Frenzy Plant before he might be able to reach a big Brave Bird, right? Because all it takes is one Frenzy Plant to take out the Sirfetch'd, right? He reaches the charge move. Fortunately, it's too early for it to be a Brave Bird, so that's a little reassuring for me. It's the Night Slash. I can reach Frenzy Plant if he didn't get the boost, but he did. He got the boost! And then, of course, I'm just at a Body Slam. I don't think Body Slam would have KO'd, but he's able to take me out. So overall, I'd say my big mistake in that matchup was not double shielding the Talonflame and letting Golbat just get way too much damage on me. Overall, not a good move. So in the second fight, I'm leading with Talonflame again, same team, but with Skuntank. I figured that just readjusting a little bit, if I played the matchup like better, I think my core is solid. I just kind of played a little bit poorly, and I adjusted to Skuntank so I can manage Golbat a little bit better, right? So fortunately here, I win the lead. We get the Berserker. I shield up the first foul play because I don't want to be put in a position where I can get fast moved down. So even though that does put me behind in shields, I know that I'll be up energy, so I can basically get that shield right back, which I do here, so worked according to plan. Here, I believe I let it go through, and under the assumption that I could maybe reach another Flame Charge, but I just miss it there, unfortunately. Good news is, though, is I brought Skuntank this time, and Skuntank can handle Golbat pretty well. Golbat is a little bit chunkier than I'd like it to be right now. Like, I didn't expect Golbat to be such a problem for my team, but Golbat was harassing me left and right. He swaps into the Sirfetch'd, not wanting the Golbat to get farmed down here, and that brings in my Serperior, which is kind of bad news because I'm going to get lined up against the Golbat, which could put me in a farm situation, which I kind of don't want to be in. Knowing that he's going to have to shield my attack, I throw the Leaf Tornado, and I do get the debuff, which is pretty nice. Even with the debuff, I think I have to shield up this attack, or not. I guess I don't. I didn't review this before doing the shoutcast, so yeah, no, I didn't shield it. I did survive. I threw the Frenzy Plant. Now that I'm deep in the red, he won't get a lot of farm action in, just a little baby farm, and then Skunktank's in a position where I can easily take it out behind one shield. Here, I don't shield the Poison Fang because, like, I know the second Poison Fang could KO me, but the first one definitely wouldn't, and I wasn't quite sure where it was at on energy, so rather than, risking it all, I decided to just eat that Poison Fang there. Worked out because I won. Then going into our third match here, I think the Golbat lead worked out for Daniel, and I think he's going to do it again. So I decided to go with Steelix in the lead, and then I'm considering at this point he might start bringing in his Psychic Pokemon, so I bring in Gramble to try to meet that. Here, I kind of made a little bit of a mistake. Deoxys Defense Form into Berserker isn't as comfortable for me as Gramble is into Berserker. My Gramble here is a Snarl Gramble, so resisting both of its presumed charge moves, I think I'd be in a lot better position if I just, swapped to Gramble and ate the charge moves, rather than throwing in Deoxys Defense Form and having to deal with Shadow Claw and Foul Play. So that was kind of a big mistake on my part. I'm not terribly concerned though, because what's he going to do? Bring in Golbat? Guess what I got? I got Big Steelix. So I'm not too concerned about it, but it is kind of a misstep that could bite me later on in the game. So a little bit unfortunate that I made that maneuver there. But I bring back in the Steelix here. Golbat has to get out of there, and he brings in Fortress. And Fortress is a really sticky situation for me because, like, yeah, he's going to spam me with Mirror Shot, and that's not great for Gramble, but he is up a shield. And all he really has to do is like land Earthquake to make my life a nightmare, and I really have to land Earthquake on him in order to flip this fight or make it more comfortable. So yeah, so I dip into my Gramble here, knowing that Gramble has absolutely nothing to do against the Golbat. He's blasting me with Mirror Shots. It matters not. I need to get both of those shields, and if I can take out Fortress in the process, that would be fantastic too. I don't know if I'll be able to reach it. I do get the second shield. I'm on my way to the close combat, and he swap catches it with Golbat. Swap catches it. Oh my gosh. So like I bring in Steelix here, but now the problem is his Fortress is up on energy. He is very well on his way to an Earthquake, which will obviously take me out because I'm at like half health here. So I farm up as much as I reasonably can. Maybe I should have undercharged there. I go for the Earthquake. I'm convinced he has it, but I somehow get it. And talking to Daniel, I guess it was a CMP tie too, so super dire situation, and I'm able to take out the Fortress. So the score right now is 2-1. You need 3 wins in order to move on in this tournament, at a minimum. So we're going into round 4 here. I'm bringing in Superior, because at this point, I'm convinced he's going to bring Lantern. I've led Talonflame, I've led Steelix. He's bringing Lantern. It's freaking Golbat. Golbat! Into my Superior lead, which is not great. So I swap into my Shadow Skuntank there. I'm up against Surfetch'd. I know that none of Surfetch'd's charge moves can KO me, and I know that I can threaten a shield from him, so I'm trying to get whatever advantage I can get at this point, because this is a super dire situation for me. What am I going to do? Bring in Steelix into Surfetch'd? Come on, man. So yeah, so I bring in my Superior. I know he doesn't have Brave Bird at this point, so I'm not concerned about the charge moves. I just got to farm this thing down and then hope it works out against Golbat, right? So Golbat comes on in here. I swap immediately to Steelix and hope he's got something I can manage pretty fairly in the back there. He Poison Fangs me to soften me up. And then who does he bring in? Berserker. Just about all these fights have been Golbat, Berserker, and Surfetch'd. And it works. It works. He changed up the formula, brought in Fortress, didn't work out so well. This core of 3 is a pain in my butt, especially now, because, like, come on, man, where's the Lantern? Where's the Lantern, Daniel? Where is it? I don't know. So I'm hoping to ride out the swap timer. Plan here is to throw Crunch, immediately swap in the Superior, take it out with a Frenzy Plant, and then hope that's enough to make me not lose to Golbat, right? So plan, going according to plan right now. He brings in the Golbat. I Leaf Tornado him to just hurt him as much as I possibly can. Maybe increase my chances of winning at this point. And it works. And I reach a Frenzy Plant, so I can hurt him even more. So the opportunity for me to KO him in just one crunch much higher. His possibility of KOing me, much lower. He's debuffed. 2 attack stages, down. He reaches the Shadow Ball, and to my terror, that's over half of the remaining HP I have from that one Shadow Ball. And of course, what does he reach at this point? But yet another Shadow Ball. We are 2-2 at this point. Daniel is about to take away my hopes and dreams at revenge at Jonkus. This guy, when I first met him, he was focus blasting armored Mewtwo's, and now here he is, dragging my ass across the floor, mopping it with me. So for the final fight, I'm convinced he's bringing Golbat. I'm bringing Steelix. Golbat's been working out for him this whole time. He's afraid of RyanSwag. He may be Apex Shadow Z, but I can smell that fear. And I catch the lead with my Steelix. He brings in the Berserker. I meet the Berserker with Talonflame. I think once again at this point, Gramble might have been a better option, but at the same time, I can fast move down and farm this thing relatively well. And I don't know if he didn't bring like Lantern yet. I don't know if he's bringing Lantern at this point, you know. So he might have Lantern in the back. He might have Lantern in the back. So I may as well burn my Talonflame immediately, because in the end game, my Talonflame might be completely useless, right? So then I throw the Brave Bird. He's going to shield up the Brave Bird because it's obviously a Brave Bird. And then he swaps immediately to Surfetch to get the farm in. Locked in the Surfetched, I bring in Gramble. Gramble is up a shield, so this is basically the end of Surfetched here. But, not taking it too lightly. I know I'm going to survive the charge move. I eat the charge move. I throw the close combat. This Golbat is going to get minimal farming, and it's going to be up against a whole ass Steelix with a shield. So man, all 4 of these battles have had me on my toes. Like, the first fight, I thought I had it in the bag, and I very clearly did not. And then in our 4th fight, I thought, okay, I'm up 2. This is going to be it. I'm going to catch his stupid Lantern lead. And it was not a Lantern lead. It was not a Lantern lead. But I finally caught DanielZ. And yeah, this is pretty much a GG here. So yeah, definitely good battles from Daniel there. Dude had me pretty terrified. Like, the whole time I was afraid of Lantern. I talked to him about it after the fight too. I was like, why didn't you bring Lantern? And I guess he's not very confident with Lantern. He doesn't have a lot of Lantern experience. So he's hoping to use it mostly as like, bench pressure, mental warfare. And clearly it worked, because I was like waiting for that Lantern the entire time, manipulated my gameplay throughout most of our fights. So pretty good mental tactic there from DanielZnyiri. If you do want to check out Daniel, I'll link in the description, of course, to his YouTube channel. He also does like podcasts on the Third Shield podcast. He also does Twitch streaming as well. So I'm just going to link to his Linktree in the description as well. It's not actually a Linktree. I think it's called like Solo, but it's basically a Linktree, right? So if you want to check out Daniel, get all that Daniel action. And then of course he is also uploading his side of the fight as well. So if you do want to check him out and see his perspective in our battles, we'll link in the description to that video as well. But with this being the victory for the semifinals, I am now moving on to the semifinals, moving one step closer to my revenge plot against Jonkus for taking Dedenne from me in this draft tournament. But to get to Jonkus, like, I have to beat the end boss. And like, not to say that Jonkus ain't the end boss here, but I'm gonna have to fight ThoTechtical. Like, wish me luck, guys. Swagtips. I'd also like to give a special shout out to these Patreon supporters. If you want to support Swagman on Patreon, link in the description. Do you know what Mr. Techtical has on his team? He drafted Shadow Nidoqueen and Mandibuzz. I have to get through Nidoqueen and Mandibuzz in a draft tournament. Like, man.